Regulation D is coming. It is upon us.
Welcome to a brand new beginning, you sorry shit.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrifice?
I'm fast as fuck, boy. Still fast as fuck, boy. Come get some.
Peggy 3.
So for this video, we're not doing any live battles. Because all of these new Pokemon became available with Pokemon Home, I decided why not give Trick Room Kyogre some playtime in casual battles. So I'll show you some battles that I recorded and give you some commentary over them. I haven't really focused on YouTube lately, and I'm trying to get back into it. I just had a lot of stuff going on. But with that being said, thank you so much for all the support on TikTok. We're about to hit 12,000 followers, which is crazy. Wait. We just hit 12,000 followers, which is crazy. I'm very updated. But anyhow, Regulation D is here next month. Now, I'll be honest, a lot of people are saying that this is going to be the best format for Scarlet and Violet so far, with it also being confirmed to be the World Championship format. I'll have to say though, I'm not quite sure about this, primarily because, as some of you know, I play Trick Room most of the time. I have great ideas for teams, including using Enamorus, as I'm doing here, and also Pokemon like Ursaluna, but they are a pain in the ass to get. I never finished Legends Arceus, and even if I did, the IV system is different, I believe, so even with the game, I wouldn't really be able to reset for one. Also, the amount of nerfs I have seen is insane. Cresselia was nerfed in both defenses and then got a new amazing move in Lunar Blessing. Now, I'm not running that here, but the move basically heals both Pokemon by 25% and heals status conditions, which is insane. Landorus wasn't nerfed, they actually buffed the damn thing in my opinion. They gave him a signature move that is 100 base power, stab, hits both targets, and has a 20% chance to burn. The move is 80% accurate, which makes it sound kinda meh, but again, go back to 80% accurate Dark Void and tell me how that went. Rillaboom got its goddamn kneecaps cut off, lost Grassy Glide and Stomping Tantrum, and Superpower, but when the hell were you gonna run Superpower on Rillaboom anyways? Alongside a lot of other nerfs, like, I don't know, Heatran lost Eruption, which, I mean, that's good, I guess. I think one of my main issues with this is that people are confusing, you know, different from better. Because all of the things that we complained about in Regulation C are still going to be there in Regulation D. The only difference is we're going to have a plethora of new Pokemon with buffs and nerfs and all of that, but, you know, we're still gonna have a lot of the same problems. But hey, we get a lot of new Pokemon. Kanto Articuno is actually looking good for once. Also, casual battles are completely wild. I can be in full control of the match, and my opponent even makes me question what the hell is going on. I'll be making some more ranked and casual battle videos in the future. I'll mostly be using rental teams for now, because I'm trying to build a Regulation D team. But I also want to touch on the stuff that is going on in Asia, primarily Japan and South Korea. So for the casual fan, you may or may not know about this because it's actually starting to pick up. I saw Wolf made a video about it, which I think is really good. That someone with his influence actually sheds light on the situation. Please keep in mind this is my subjective opinion based on the information that I have received and read up on. I know that the World's qualification and events are very different in both Japan and South Korea, but I also think that the whole situation is complete shit in the way that it was handled. So, in Japan and South Korea, the qualification for Worlds are very different, but in short, they've had way less events, especially after COVID. And their online events, they have been awful recently for the players, and extremely poorly planned. To start with Japan, Ray Rizzo talked about this situation in his video, so I suggest checking him out because obviously he has a lot more information than I do. And I'm going based on the information that I have received and read up on, as I said earlier, so in regards of what I might get wrong, my final opinion still doesn't really change, I don't think, and that would have to be something massive. So first of all, in Japan, there was a problem in the sense that players were not allowed to take breaks, which is huge. I mean, you try to play 20 games of ranked non-stop. It's not good for your head. And not only that, but there was also a problem where after the match, players would disconnect after the match, causing the game to not register. And that's not even mentioning the fact that after the match you had no option to stop playing, which meant that you were matching up against the same player several times, which isn't supposed to happen. If you had a bad matchup, you're fucked. But the thing about games not registering is also huge, because there was no indication as to how many games you've played, and you needed to complete a set number of games in order to be eligible for the rest of the tournament. So in Japan, I believe you had to play 10 games minimum, but you could play up to 20. In South Korea, I might be wrong here, but I think you were only given 10 games as a whole, which isn't a lot, but that's at least to my knowledge. So again, there was no indicator as to how many games you've played, and the issue with that is that if the game wasn't registered, and let's say you went 10-0, and one game didn't count, you'd basically get a DNF, I believe, meaning did not finish. So you could technically have a better record than someone going 8-2, but they would proceed and you wouldn't because your one game didn't count and therefore you weren't eligible. And there was so many issues. There were people being invited to Worlds after the tournaments and then have the invitation revoked. So that was Japan, but in South Korea it got way worse recently. So not only did South Korea experience a lot of the same issues that Japan did, but the top 4 players from South Korea, they qualified for Worlds Day 2, which is a big deal. And then one of them got disqualified with no explanation as to why, and when asked for an explanation, they refused to say why, which I am sorry, but regardless of the situation, if you're going to take away someone's opportunity to play in the World Championships, you at least owe them an explanation as to why they're not allowed to play anymore. So they then took, I believe it was a 5th place, and put him among the top 4, and they had to compete in another tournament to determine who was number 1 and who was number 4 in terms of prizes and whatnot. But they had all already qualified for day 2, so they basically decided to protest against the system and the way that they were treated. And the way they did that was by locking in their teams of 6 Pokemon knowing only Metronome, which in my opinion is actually a very fair protest. They didn't do anything inappropriate, and trust me, they could have. They didn't technically break any rules, and overall, it was funny. Let's be real here, it's funny. But as a result of this, they all got disqualified, and then had their Day 2 invites revoked. Which, here's the thing, I can understand that for the people at Pokemon involved with the tournaments in both Japan and South Korea, there was no good and clear solution to these problems. It went to shit. Obviously, they didn't do it on purpose, this was the intention, and I completely understand that. But at the same time, they are the ones in charge, and it was poorly planned, poorly executed, and it heavily affected the players. And regardless of their solution or their intentions, they are responsible for that. As to the invites, I feel like for their invites to the World Championships to just be removed is a horrible call. Not just in the sense that, hey, they actually worked for this and they earned it, but also because striking someone down for speaking up for the vast majority is wrong. But again, that's just my take on it, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I also hope that there will be a proper solution for this entire situation. So that's enough commentary for today's video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll edit down a couple of matches for you guys to watch.